Hello, Depew Sales Partners. You ever ask yourself, how am I going to compete with all these navigation systems out here? Oh, and what about robotics? Well, the answer is here now. Our gap balancing technology is proprietary and unique in the marketplace that can make a difference for you. So let's review the technology right now. So what is so unique about our gap balancing graft? Well, look over to the right here. You're going to see flexion and extension. I'd like you to visualize nothing on this screen and the surgeon putting the knee through range of motion prior to making any resections or tissue releases. This graph will appear and it will show the surgeon how much gap space exists at all points of range of motion. So if you look at the flexion numbers, it's telling me that we are a little closed medially at 7.5 millimeters and a little bit open laterally. When you go to extension down at the bottom, it's telling the surgeon that in extension, you're still a little closed medially and a little bit open laterally. So we know that we have a tight knee medially and that we need to make corrective actions throughout the surgery to address this. When discussing knee 3, predictive software should be part of your vocabulary. We're going to show a representation of what the screen looks like. So when the doctor removes less bone on the distal femoral cut block, you're going to see it closes down the gap space at the bottom of the graph there. It's predicting what that space will look like. As the surgeon cuts more of the distal femur off, you're going to see it opens up the gap space in extension. So as you work through the surgery, you're going to see the ultimate goal is to get what we call railroad tracks. These lines on the balance graph to the right, the goal is to get them equal. In fact, with the Attune system, 11 and 11 is the perfect gap space, but ultimately get them parallel. So again, this is showing the difference of how you affect the gap space by moving the cut block, varus or valgus. Here you're going to see the effects of moving the distal femoral cut block into more flexion or extension, how it affects the gap space. So as you increase flexion, you have a smaller flexion gap and a larger extension gap. On the opposite, if you decrease flexion, you're adding a larger flexion gap and a smaller extension gap as represented on the graph on the side. Our navigation system allows you to choose the implant family from Depew that you're using. So here you have the ability to manually adjust there on the bottom, that number 4, the size of the implant. So as you see, if you increase, how it impacts the gap space versus decrease. So as you move to your 4-in-1 cut block, you're going to put our array in the anterior cut slot. And what you're going to see here is as you change rotation, it impacts the gap space. Also, if you want to move your implant a little bit anterior or a little bit posterior, that's also going to affect the space. One thing to also remember is that the surgeon has freestyle automation options. If the surgeon wants to start on the tibia, they can start on the tibia. If they want to start on the femur, they can start on the femur. This represents the cut block on your proximal tibial height resection. Obviously, the less you resect, the tighter the space. The more you resect, the more you're going to open up the space. In closing, take some time, go to this webpage and look at our videos on this site, play with the interactive tool, and think about it differently. I encourage you to reach out to me or your local sales manager to contact your regional specialist because we're here to help you. Without you, we're not successful. Thank you.